The Adeyemi's house stood tall in the heart of Lagos, with its wide compound, shining SUVs parked at the gate, and marble floors that sparkled in the evening sun. It was the kind of home people pointed at and whispered, "Those ones are blessed." But what outsiders couldn't see was the silent storm inside. As the head of the family was Chief Adeyemi, a wealthy businessman who wore agbada like a crown and carried himself with the pride of a man who had conquered life. His wife, Madame Dupe, was elegant and feared in equal measure. Her words were sharp, her presence commanding. Together, they had two children, Kunle, the star of the house, and Tomi, the forgotten shadow. If Kunle so much as sneezed, their mother would rush to his side with love. If he smiled, the whole house lit up. Tomi, however, could bring home the first position in class, and the most she would hear was, "Good, that's what is expected." Tomi was 15. She had big, curious eyes and a gentle soul, but her eyes were often sad because no matter how hard she tried, her mother never really looked at her. One Friday evening, Tomi entered the living room holding a drawing pad. She had spent the whole night sketching a portrait of her mother, a soft, smiling image she had never really seen in reality, but hoped one day to witness it. "Mommy," she said, her voice timid, "I drew something for you." Their mother looked up briefly from the beads she was threading on her headscarf. Kunle was sprawled on the couch, laughing as he watched a football highlight on his tablet. "What is it, Tomi? I am busy." Tomi handed her the drawing. "It's you. I thought you might like it." Their mother barely glanced at it. Why waste time on all these things? Better go and read your book. Drawing would give you admission into the university." She tossed the paper on the table without another word. Kunle, not even looking at his sister, chuckled. "You see, nobody cares about all this your play art." Tomi felt the heat rise in her chest. She blinked fast to stop the tears. She wanted to scream,
"I'm here, see me. Just once, see me." But she only nodded quietly and walked away. Kunle's 17th birthday arrived with a bang. The compound was transformed with canopies, balloons, and caterers serving steaming jollof rice. Cars lined the streets. Tomi wore a plain dress. Nobody bought her anything new. She stood in the corner, clutching a small box she had decorated herself, a handmade gift for Kunle. At the peak of the celebration, Madame Dupe and Chief Adeyemi presented Kunle with his birthday surprise, a brand new iPhone. The crowd roared with approval. Dupe hugged her son tightly and declared, "You are the pride of this family. You will go far in life." Everyone clapped. Everyone smiled, except Tomi. She stared at the phone in her brother's hand, then at her mother's glowing face. A lump rose in her throat. She whispered to herself, "What about me? Don't I deserve to be loved too?" Later that night, she sat on her bed, looking at the ceiling. A dangerous thought came into her heart. Maybe the only way they will see me is if I disappear. On Monday morning, while her mother was downstairs preparing breakfast, Tomi sat at her desk and wrote, "Dear Mommy, since I was born, all I ever wanted was your love. But no matter what I do, you never see me. Maybe if I disappear, you will finally notice me. Don't blame Kunle. Don't blame Daddy. Just know that I tried. Goodbye." Her hands trembled as she folded the note. She slipped it under her mother's pillow, picked up her school bag, and walked out of the house. But she didn't go to school. Instead, she walked past the gates, boarded a downfall bus, and let the city swallow her whole. That afternoon, Madame Dupe went upstairs to change her wrapper. As she lifted her pillow, she found the folded paper. She opened it carelessly at first, but as her eye moved across the words, her knees became weak. "What is this?" she screamed. Chief Adeyemi rushed into the room. "What happened?" She showed him the note in her hands. He read it once, then again. His face went pale. Kunle appeared at the doorway, confused. "Mommy, Daddy, what's wrong?" Dupe's voice cracked. "It's your sister. She's gone." For the first time in years, tears poured down her cheeks. Her perfect voice was broken, her proud posture gone. The entire house was thrown into chaos. Police were called immediately. By evening, posters with Tomi's picture were already circulating the city. Family members spread across Lagos searching bus stops, markets, and streets looking for her. Neighbors shook their heads. Such a fine girl. Why would she run away from home? Some whispered, maybe she was being maltreated. Children don't just live for nothing. Dupe couldn't sleep at night. She sat in the living room with swollen eyes, repeating, "Where is my daughter? Where is my daughter? God, don't let her die, please. Please let me see her again." Kunle, usually the center of attention, felt a strange emptiness. For the first time, he realized his sister had been hurting. He whispered to his mother one night, "Mommy, maybe we didn't treat her well." Dupe broke down completely in tears. "I failed her. I failed my own daughter." 3 days passed. Some people said they saw Tomi near Mile 2. Others swore she was at Oshodi. But each time the family rushed there, it was a dead end. The press caught the story. Newspapers reported, "Businessman's daughter missing after leaving mysterious note." Dupe couldn't bear the shame. She stopped answering calls, stopped going to her women's meeting. Her once flawless makeup was gone. Her face was bare, swollen from crying. Chief Adeyemi tried to be strong, but even he broke down one night. "If anything happens to Tomi, I will never forgive myself." On the fourth day, a call came in. A woman who ran a roadside shop near the outskirts of Lagos said a young girl had been sitting near her store for 2 days, refusing food, staring blankly into space. The Adeyemis rushed down there. When they arrived, they saw her, Tomi, their own daughter. Her hair was messy, her clothes were dusty, but she was alive at least. "Tomi!" Dupe cried, running towards her, but Tomi stepped back. Her eyes were cold, tired, and filled with pain and anger. "You only noticed me now because I disappeared, right?" she said, her voice low but cutting. "Where was this love when I begged for it all these years?" Those words pierced Dupe's heart like knives. She fell to her knees, clutching her chest and crying, "Forgive me, my daughter. Please forgive me." The ride back home from the roadside shop was heavy with silence. The car moved, but it felt like the world had stopped. Tomi sat by the window in the back seat, her arms folded, her face blank. Her mother sat beside her, trying several times to hold her hands, but Tomi shifted away each time. Dupe's heart bled. The daughter she had long ignored was finally beside her. Yet, she felt farther than ever. Chief Adeyemi cleared his throat from the driver's seat. "Tomi, we are glad you are safe," he said. There was no response from Tomi. Kunle turned slightly, guilt in his eyes. "Sis, we really miss you." Still nothing was said. When the car finally stopped inside the compound, the gate man rushed forward, smiling widely. "Ah, small madam, welcome o. We thank God you are safe." Tomi nodded slightly but didn't smile. She walked straight inside, leaving her family exchanging worried glances. That night, Dupe could not sleep. She tossed and turned on her bed, her heart heavy with guilt. Around midnight, she tiptoed to Tomi's room. The girl was asleep, curled tightly under the blanket like someone trying to hide from the world. Dupe stood by the door, staring at her daughter. Memories of all the times she had brushed her aside came rushing back. When Tomi had proudly brought his first drawing, when she had topped her class, when she had sung in the choir and longed for her mother's eyes. Dupe whispered through her tears, "God, please forgive me. I was blind. Please don't let me lose her." She wanted to touch Tomi's face, but fear stopped her hand. Instead, she sank to her knees right there in the room and wept silently until dawn. Morning came. The family gathered at the table for breakfast. The silence was thick. Dupe forced a smile. "Tomi, eat something. I made yam and egg sauce, your favorite food." Tomi looked at her, her expression unreadable. "You remember how? Or did someone just remind you?" The words cut like a blade. Kunle shifted uncontrollably in his chair. Chief Adeyemi sighed. "Tomi," Dupe began, her voice trembling, "I know I failed you, but please give me a chance to show you that things can be different." Tomi shook her head. "You don't fix years of pain with one breakfast." She stood, pushing her chair back, and walked out. Dupe buried her face in her hands, sobbing. For the first time, the whole family saw her broken beyond pride. Later that day, Kunle found Tomi sitting under the mango tree in the compound, sketching quietly. He sat beside her, fidgeting. "Tomi, can I say something?" She didn't look up. "You usually do anyway." Kunle sighed. "I am sorry. I know I made things worse. I always joked at your expenses. I didn't know you were hurting this much." Tomi finally looked at him, her eyes sharp. "You didn't know because you didn't care. You enjoyed being the star. You enjoyed watching mommy praise you while I sat in the shadows." Kunle lowered his head. "You are right, but I want to change. I want to be a real brother to you." Tomi studied him for a moment. Then she turned back to her sketchpad. "Words are easy. Let's see action." Though things seemed better, healing wasn't as smooth as it looked. One Saturday morning, the family sat at breakfast. Chief Adeyemi asked, "So, who will represent the family at the inter-school debate?" Kunle grinned proudly. "Of course, me." Before Tomi could speak, Dupe cut in. "Wait, your sister was shortlisted too, right?" Tomi nodded, surprised that her mother remembered. But Kunle laughed. "Ah, mommy, abeg. Tomi is shy. She will just embarrass us." Tomi froze. The old wound reopened instantly. She dropped her spoon quietly. Dupe slammed her hand on the table. "Never say that about your sister again. Do you hear me?" The entire room went quiet. Even Kunle looked shocked. For the first time ever, Dupe openly defended Tomi. Tears filled Tomi's eyes. It wasn't full healing, but it was proof that her mother was truly changing. Weeks later, Tomi's school announced an inter-school art competition. The best young artists in Lagos would compete for scholarships and recognition. When Tomi showed her mother the flyer, her voice trembled. "Mommy, should I try?" Dupe pulled her close and kissed her forehead. Not only should you try, you must try. You are gifted. Let the world see what I was too blind to see before. Tomi felt her chest swell with pride. She poured her heart into her drawings, shadows of sadness, bright colors of hope, and portraits that captured emotions raw and real. The day of the competition, Dupe and Chief Adeyemi sat in the front row, cheering louder than anyone else. When Tomi's name was called as the overall winner, the hall erupted in applause. Dupe cried openly, hugging her daughter. "My star, my precious star." For the first time, Tomi truly believed it. Later that night, Kunle knocked on Tomi's door. She looked up from her sketchbook. "What do you want?" Kunle hesitated. "I am sorry, Tomi. I didn't realize how much I hurt you. I thought I was just joking, but I see now I made things worse." Tomi studied him for a long time. Then she sighed. "You were mommy's favorite. You enjoyed it. You never thought about how it felt for me." Kunle looked down ashamed. "You are right, but I want to do better. Maybe we can be real siblings now." A small smile tugged at Tomi's lips. Maybe. It wasn't full forgiveness, but it was the beginning of something new. But life has a way of testing change. Months later, tragedy struck. Chief Adeyemi was arrested in connection to a business scandal. His assets were frozen. The once powerful family faced disgrace. Neighbors gossiped. Newspapers carried the story. Suddenly, the Adeyemi home that once overflowed with wealth was filled with uncertainty. For the first time, Dupe couldn't rely on money to keep her pride intact. She had to face the world humbly, and she had to lean on the very daughter she once neglected. One evening, she sat with Tomi, her hands trembling. "My daughter, I don't know how we will survive this. I am scared." Tomi placed a hand on her mother's shoulder. "We will survive together. I am not invisible anymore. You are not alone." Those words gave Dupe strength she never thought she had. To help her family, Tomi began selling her artwork. What started as small sketches sold to neighbors grew into a business. People bought her portraits eagerly. She even started posting them online and gaining attention. Soon, a popular Lagos art gallery invited her to exhibit her work. The same newspaper that once reported her disappearance now reported "Teen artist turned pain into power: the inspiring story of Tomi Adeyemi." Dupe clipped every article and pasted them on the wall. She told anyone who cared to listen, "This is my daughter, my shining light." One Sunday, after service, a woman from the congregation pulled Dupe aside. "I heard what your daughter went through. I also have 2 children. One always shines, the other is quiet. Sometimes I focus too much on the bright one, but your story has opened my eyes." Dupe smiled sadly. "I almost lost my child before I learnt my lesson. Please don't wait until it is too late." That night, Tomi overheard her mother praying, "Thank you, Lord, for giving me a second chance. I will never take my daughter for granted again." Tomi's eyes welled with tears. For the first time in her life, she felt peace. Years later, Tomi stood on a stage at an art award ceremony. She looked into the crowd and saw her mother cheering the loudest. As she accepted her award, she spoke into the microphone. "This award is not just mine. It belongs to every child who has ever felt unseen. It belongs to the girl who once thought she had to disappear just to be noticed. And it belongs to the mother who found the courage to change before it was too late. The crowd erupted. Madame Dupe stood, clapping with tears in her eyes. For once, she wasn't the proud, untouchable woman the society knew. She was just a mother, grateful, humbled, and redeemed. The Adeyemi family never forgot that lesson. Whenever people asked Tomi what kept her going, she said softly, "I wanted love, and in the end, I found it. Not because I disappeared, but because I spoke my truth." And whenever Dupe was asked how she changed, she answered with a broken but honest heart. Never neglect one child for another. Every child is a star. Some shines loudly, some shine quietly, but all deserve to be seen.